How's it guys, Kirk here from Go Fish, and today we're going to be chatting on the basics of stick baits. When it comes to stick baits, there are two main things that you got to worry about. One, is it a floating one? Two, is it a sinking one? Those are pretty much your two main things. The other stuff can get really technical, but it's important to know as well, because when you're looking at a stick bait on the shelf, they pretty much look all the same. Well, not necessarily. So it all depends on the profile of your stick bait. Has the stick bait got a bit more of a narrower belly to it, or is it a bit more of a shorter, stubby profile? Is the chin more tapered at the front here, or is it a bit more rounded? This all affects the action of the lure. And it's important to have a little bit of a variation. I know stick baits can be expensive, but guys, all those subtle differences dictate how that stick bait is going to move in the water. You want to be able to chop and change to be able to bring on that bite, because sometimes you'll get those fish following, but they just don't want to commit. And trust me, doing something like just changing from a slender profile stick bait to something that's got a bit more of a wider profile, that throws a bit more of a wider wobble in the water, would make the difference and would get that fish to commit. When the conditions are sort of calm to moderate is when you'd be fishing that floating stick bait. When it gets a little bit more choppy, your stick bait does not have the desired action that you want. It comes out of the water, it starts cartwheeling out the water, and it just becomes ineffective. When there's a bit more of a chop on the water, you can swap to the sinking stick bait, you can cast it, let it sink maybe a meter or two, or you can have a look at your finder if you really want to get specific and have a look at where you've been seeing those showings. You want more of a sort of bit of a flex in the tip of your rod just to be able to get that desired action on the lure. Don't go too wild with colors. Let's stick to the natural stuff, the purples, the browns, the blues. Profile is an important thing. So the area that you're fishing and the bait that's around at that time of year, you want to kind of stick to the profile that's in that area. You don't want to go for something too big or something too small. And then the last thing, something that's going to change your life when it comes to stick bait fishing and popping, but surface fishing in general, is that little split ring and swivel on the end of your line. A lot of guys will bite the main line or clip the main line, then retie every time. Obviously you want to check that main line every now and then to make sure it's not frayed. But how we fish our lures is that we'll leave that split ring and swivel on there, and we'll just take the lure off that we're using, as long as it's the same profile and we don't have to change the rod and reel setup. We'll take that lure off there and we'll just clip the next lure on. Nice and easy, and you're not having to retie and waste time and retying and clipping and whatnot. That's it for stick baits, guys. Get yourselves a couple of these. They're honestly going to change your life when it comes to surface fishing and targeting fish in general. Just great lures to be able to bring other fish onto your spreads as well. Always working, always making sure there's a bait in the water. And yeah, often you're going to go away and go on with these. So that's it for stick baiting. Tight lines, guys. I hope that you get yourself into a couple of fish on these bad boys.